The rain was light that morning, the kind that makes the street shine and the house feel safe. He kissed my forehead while I tied my hair, and I felt his lips miss their usual spot by an inch. It was small, but it told me something I didn't want to hear. The coffee tasted fine. The eggs looked fine. The life I believed in looked fine. Inside my chest, something said, "Watch." He moved through our kitchen like a man in a commercial. Shirt crisp, tie clean, smile ready. "Board meeting at 9, he said, grabbing his travel mug. "Don't wait for me for dinner." He said it like a joke. I smiled back because that was the rule. He kissed my cheek and left his cologne hanging in the doorway like a promise I could smell but not hold. I started cleaning to calm my hands. I wiped the counter twice. I folded the dish towel again. When I took out the trash, a slip of paper fell from the bag, crumpled, wet on the corner. I smoothed it out with my thumb. Toy store receipt. 2 items. Starter scooter, pink, and princess helmet, tiny. The timestamp was yesterday at 7:42 p.m., the exact time he told me he was stuck on a call. When he texted me a heart at 8:03, I called him. "Long call?" I asked, light on purpose. "Client crisis," he said. Their kid was screaming in the background. I felt bad for them. He laughed like it was a sweet story. He was careful with his tone, not too warm, not too cold. "Save me some cake." I hung up and stared at the receipt until the ink almost blurred. He had bought a pink scooter for a client's kid. Maybe. But the lie slid too well off his tongue. He was practiced. I went to move his car from the curb before the street cleaner came. As I opened the back door to grab the umbrella, I saw it. A shallow dent in the seat cushion. The kind a child's booster leaves when it sits too long. A tiny gold sticker stuck to the seatbelt buckle. The faint smell of baby soap mixed with his cologne. My chest got tight. I checked the trunk. A folded blanket with a cartoon sun I had never seen in this house. I told myself to breathe. I told myself I was making a story out of a sticker. Then his calendar alert popped up on the dashboard screen, synced to our family account he forgot I still had access to. "Pick up 3:15, it said. No location. Just a clock and a word. Pick up. For what? At lunch, I called Maya from the office supply store because Maya tells the truth even when I don't want it. "Follow the pattern," she said. Her voice was firm, not cruel. "Receipts, calendar, car. The pattern is bells. Where do they ring?" She breathed. "If you need me, I'm here." I drove with no music and found the answer on the map history in our shared app. The one we used when he was forgetful with directions. Maple Court. A small street on the other side of the park. He had stopped there 3 times in the last 2 weeks, always around 4. Always the days he came home late and kissed me like his mind was elsewhere. I parked 2 blocks away at 3:10 and walked with a grocery bag on my arm like I belonged there. At 3:18, he turned the corner, tie loosened, that same careful smile on his mouth. A woman met him at the gate. She had her hair in a low braid and a tired hoodie that said City Clinic. She carried a small backpack with glitter stars. A little girl ran ahead of her, pink helmet in hand, cheeks red from the cold. "Daddy!" the girl yelled, and the word didn't hit me. It cut me. He lifted the girl and spun once, simple and easy, like he had practiced it for years. He kissed the top of her head. He kissed the woman's cheek, fast and soft, like he had earned that right. I stepped into the shadow of a tree and pressed the grocery bag tight against my ribs to stop the shake in my hands. The woman saw me first. She was not dumb. She looked right at my face, then at my ring, then at his hand on the child's back, and her mouth pressed flat. She didn't look smug. She looked tired and ready to fight. She stepped closer to the gate and spoke low so the girl wouldn't hear. "You must be her," she said. "He told me you were fragile and sick a lot. That was his story? Is that your story too?" My voice sounded calm. It did not feel calm. "No," she said. "My story is I asked him to tell you a year ago. He cried and said he would. He didn't. My story is I worked nights at the clinic and needed help. He gave it. That part is true." She turned to the girl. "Inside, baby. Cookies on the table." The girl ran up the walkway and turned to wave at him. He smiled with his whole face. The real one. The one he had stopped showing me months ago. I looked at the woman. "What's her name?" "Lila," she said. "She's 4. She likes scooters and pancakes with chocolate chips that freeze your teeth." For a second, she almost smiled. Then she pinned me with a steady look. "Don't fight me here." "Fight him. He is the one who promised 2 lives. He came to the gate then, keys in hand, face pale, eyes wide but still calculating the safe angle. "You shouldn't be here," he said to me, voice low, careful. "Let's go home. We'll talk like adults." "I'm standing in front of your other family," I said. "Where should adults talk? The living room here? Or ours?" He reached for my elbow, the way he does when he wants to move me without making it look like force. I pulled back. His hand hovered in the air for a second, then dropped. "It's complicated," he said. "You don't understand what happened." "Then explain a 4-year-old, I said. "Explain the booster dent. Explain pickup 315. He looked down the street like a man searching for an exit. "I made a mistake," he said. "I tried to fix it without breaking you. I pay for everything. I see her sometimes. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to lose our life. You lost it when you split it," I said. The woman, her name tag from the clinic said Sophia, watched his face while I spoke. I saw the look she gave him when he lied. The small head tilt, the slow blink. She knew his tricks, too. "Tell her the rest," she said, calm and hard. "Tell her how you told Lila that Mommy's friend is Daddy's friend, too. Tell her how you said lying was love." He closed his eyes for a breath. When he opened them, there was charm again, as if he still believed he could sell me a better version of the same story. "We can be kind," he said. "We can make a shape that works. I'll fix it. I took my phone out. I didn't point it at him. I pressed play on a voice memo I recorded 20 seconds earlier. Lila's voice filled the small street, high and sweet and clear through the speaker. "Good night, Daddy," she said from inside the house. "See you tomorrow." A drawer closed. Small feet ran. A faucet turned. It sounded like a life, whole and loud, and not mine. His face broke in a way I had never seen. Not a tear, not shame. An understanding that the sale was over. He reached again and stopped again. "Please," he said. "Don't make this ugly." "It is ugly," I said. "You just hid it in nice clothes." I went inside the building because I needed proof for the part of me that still wanted to believe it was a nightmare. The mailbox label said Shreyas/A. Hale. Our last name. His signature on the lease taped behind the glass, the same lazy loop at the end. A child's drawing on the hall corkboard, 3 figures in crayon. Tall man, woman with a braid, small girl, all holding hands under a sun. The top said, "My family," in careful block letters. My hands shook. But the photo I took did not blur. By the time I stepped back outside, he had sent Sophia and Lila in and was waiting alone at the gate, hands open like a man at church. "Do we go home together?" he asked. "Or do we turn this into a street fight?" "We go home," I said. "We eat dinner. We sit at our table. You talk. I listen." Then I decide he followed me to the car, quiet as a shadow. At home, he laid flowers on the counter, like an apology could bloom if you watered it. He talked about timing and fear and duty. He said he was helping a single mom. He said he couldn't find the right way to tell me. He said I was his anchor. He said words I used to love until they sounded like rope. I let him talk until the plates went cold. Then I placed the photo of the drawing between us. "What color is our bedroom wall?" I asked. "Grey," he said, confused. "What color is Lila's scooter?" I asked. He tried to smile. "Pink." "Then hear me," I said, and my voice was steady at last. "Our life is not whole. It's split, and I will not live in halves." He reached for my hand like always. I pressed my phone's speaker again. Lila's voice filled our kitchen, soft and honest and impossible to ignore. "Good night, Daddy." He broke at the sound. "Don't," he whispered. "Please." I stood. I took my keys. I took my bag. I opened the door and felt the night air touch my face like a kind truth. Before I stepped out, I gave him the line that ended the first part of our story and started the next. "Tomorrow," I said, "the city will hear that you have two families. Tonight, you can practice saying it out loud." The house felt too quiet for a normal morning. The kettle hissed, the toast popped, the news murmured from the living room. Everything looked right, but inside me there was a wrong note that wouldn't stop ringing. He came in behind me, slipped his arms around my waist and kissed my temple like always. His lips were warm, his breath was soft. Still, I felt a space in the hug where trust used to live. His phone buzzed on the counter, face down. He raised one finger like, "Give me a second," and walked to the hall to take the call. I turned on the sink to cover the sound and reached for my earbuds to drown out my thoughts. The earbuds paired to the nearest device by habit. The audio that spilled into my ear wasn't the news, and it wasn't him. It was a whisper, low and close to the mic, meant to be secret. "Same time today," a woman said, smiling inside the words. "Same knock. Don't forget the blue blanket. She won't sleep without it." Then softer, with a small laugh. "Breathe, my heart." That last line hit me like a slap. "Breathe, my heart." It used to be our line when I shook during storms or bad news. He said it to me on our wedding night, in the hospital with my father, on the day we signed our mortgage. That whisper didn't belong to me anymore. He came back into the kitchen with that easy, safe smile. "Client." He poured coffee. "They're a mess." He slid my mug toward me like we were fine and asked, "Do you want the car today?" His voice didn't shake. Mine almost did. "I'll take it," I said. "I have errands." He kissed my cheek and went to shower. I set the kettle down with both hands so I wouldn't drop it. Then I picked up his phone. The missed call label was a shape I knew from last night. Unknown number, but the attached voice message had synced to the kitchen speaker before the headphones caught it. I pressed play again to be sure I hadn't imagined it. The whisper was the same. The line was the same. It felt like a theft, small and exact. I opened our shared iPad from the drawer. He had left his cloud album logged in after a vacation months ago and never cleared it. I shouldn't have looked. I did. There were photos of a park I'd never been to. A pink scooter leaned on a bench. a small shoe, on a picnic blanket with a cartoon sun. A 30-second video clip loaded slow, then played. He was off frame, camera pointed down at a bundle of blue blanket. "Close your eyes," his voice said. "Breathe in my heart." The child giggled. "You breathe," she said, and the screen shook, like he was laughing. I couldn't feel my hands for a moment. Then I could feel everything at once. I set the iPad down and wiped the counter because I needed to touch something real. I took the car keys and drove with no radio, like sound would knock me over. The city clinic sat on the corner with a cracked sign and a door that stuck. Inside, a woman with a braid and tired eyes sat behind the glass. Sophia. The name tag with the clinic logo was pinned crooked to her scrub top. She looked up, saw me, and let her mouth press into a steady line. No fake smile, no smirk. Just a woman who had been up all night with other people's pain and now had her own. "We can do this here or in the break room," she said quietly. "Break room," I said. My voice didn't shake. My legs felt like glass. In the small room with a chipped table, she poured water into a paper cup and pushed it toward me. "He told me he was going to tell you," she said. "He told me that a lot. He told me I was fragile," I said. "That you were a friend." Her eyes lifted to mine. "I'm not your enemy," she said. "I'm the person who begged him to stop lying. He's good with bedtime and bad with truth. I told him that too. Why didn't you call me?" I asked. The question burned. "I don't have your number," she said. "He kept our worlds apart like he was building two houses from the same bricks. I knew the second house would fall first. I didn't know when I took a breath. I heard your voice this morning." She didn't look embarrassed. Her jaw tightened. "I leave him messages sometimes about schedules. Sometimes he calls when she's half asleep. I tell him what to bring, what calms her. It's not romance, it's survival." "It sounded like romance," I said. She didn't flinch. "Sometimes survival uses soft words," she said. "That doesn't make the math prettier." She reached into her bag and slid a folder across. "We have a PTA meeting tonight. He's listed as parent contact A. I'm B. I asked for it to be shared. He said he didn't want you bothered by kid stuff." Her mouth turned bitter on the last two words. "You should see it." Inside the folder was a printout of the preschool contact sheet. Parent, guardian, Andrew Hale. Emergency contact, S. Reyes. There was also a copy of the acknowledgement of parentage with his signature. Notarized. Dated 2 years ago. I traced the loop in his last name with my thumb until the paper felt thin. "I'm sorry you found out like this," Sophia said. "I wanted better for all of us. You didn't hide it," I said. "He did." She nodded once. "He's not a monster," she said. "He cooks on Sundays. He sits on the floor and builds terrible castles. He pays on time." She looked down. "He also lied so well, I almost believed him when he said he could keep us both safe." I slid the papers back into the folder and stood. "Thank you," I said. My knees were shaking because truth is heavy in the body. At noon, I waited in the lobby of his office with the folder on my lap. The receptionist smiled at me like she always did. His assistant came out with a fake brightness that broke under her eyes. "He'll be right down," she said, then dropped her voice. "Are you okay?" "No," I said. "But I'm here." He walked toward me in that controlled way he used when investors watched him. "Let's go upstairs," he said. "We won't do this in a lobby." "We'll do it where people can see," I said. Not loud, but not soft. His assistant pretended to read a paper and did not move away. He measured the room, the camera in the corner, the the guard by the elevator, the woman with a stroller near the door. He lowered his voice. "Please don't make a scene." "You made a life," I said. "I'm just making a record." I pressed play on my phone. The whisper came out low but clear. "Same time today. Same knock. Don't forget the blue blanket. Breathe. My heart." The woman with the stroller looked up. The guard shifted. His assistant looked down at her shoes. He reached for the phone. I pulled it back. "You always loved control," I said. "So listen. I have the PTA sheet. I have the acknowledgement of parentage. I have photos. I have the video of you saying our line to a child who is not mine." My voice shook once. I let it. "You will tell the truth tonight." His eyes searched my face like he could find the old softness and build a bridge. "We can shape this," he said. "We can make it kind. We can—" "You shaped it already," I said, and held up the page with his signature. "Now we print it." He swallowed. "If you go public, the internet will eat you first," he said softly. "They always eat the wife first. You know that. I'm not their meal," I said. "I'm the one serving the facts." He shut his eyes for a second. When he opened them, the charm was back, weak and desperate. "I love you," he said. "I love our life. You loved your secret more," I said. "You loved the space where you got to be hero twice." I put the folder under my arm. "Come at 7. Our house. Your mother will be there. Sophia will too. You will say it out loud." He blinked. "You invited them both?" "I invited the truth," I said. "It's tired of whispering." At 6:55, I set chairs around our table and poured water because my hands needed work. My mother-in-law knocked at 7 sharp. She came in with worry on her face and a casserole in her hands. "What's going on?" she asked. "He said you were upset." "I am," I said. "Sit." Please Sophia arrived with Lila at 7:02. Lila wore a yellow dress and held the blue blanket like a flag. Sophia's eyes were clear. My mother-in-law's hand flew to her mouth. "Who?" she started, then stopped because the shape of it was too heavy to push through her teeth. "He came in last, late by 3 minutes. Like that would help him." He stopped dead in the doorway and looked at all of us. The 2 women he had split his life between. The child who was his. The mother who had always believed he was a good boy. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. I put my phone on the table. I didn't play the whisper again. I didn't need to. I looked at him and spoke like I was reading a line from a card he had written himself. "Say a name," I said. "Say it to your mother." His mother's eyes shone. "Who is this child?" she asked, voice small. He swallowed and stared at me like I could save him. I didn't blink. I didn't move. He looked at Lila. He tried to smile. It came out crooked and breaking. "Mom," he said, voice rough. "This is Lila." My daughter. Silence filled the room like a held breath. Lila waved her little hand. "Hi," she said. Sophia squeezed her shoulder. My mother-in-law sat down because her knees didn't trust the floor. I turned to him and gave him the last line he would get from me that wasn't in a courtroom or on a record. "Tomorrow," I said, steady and simple. "The world will hear you say it too." The afternoon light was soft, the kind that makes a room look gentle, even when your stomach is not. Our living room was clean, the laundry folded, the stew on low. It should have felt safe. It didn't. Every sound felt too sharp. The clock tick, the spoon against the pot, the buzz of my phone. I kept waiting for a reason to breathe and didn't get one. At 3, I drove to the preschool for the parent meeting. He said he couldn't make it. Back-to-back calls. And sent a thumbs-up emoji that made me want to throw my phone. The hallway smelled like crayons and soap. On the wall outside the office, a big corkboard waited for Family Week. "Bring one photo that shows your family," the flyer said. A line of pictures was already pinned up with bright clothespins. I told myself to walk past. I didn't. There it was in the center. A glossy 8x10. My husband in a cream sweater, kneeling on a wooden pier. Lila on his shoulders, laughing with her mouth open wide. Sophia beside him in a knit hat, there, hands hooked at the fingers. The blue blanket folded under Lila's arm like a small soft flag. Behind them, a grey lake I knew too well. The pier wasn't just any pier. It was the one where he asked me to marry him. The tilt of the boards, the curve of the railing. You don't forget the wood you stood on when your whole life changed. I felt my breath leave like it had been yanked from my chest. The room went quiet around me, even though parents were chatting by the door and a printer was spitting forms. My fingers curled into my coat sleeve until I felt the seam burn. I leaned closer. On his wrist in the photo was the scarf I had knit last winter, looped like a bracelet, because he never learned to wear it right. He had told me he lost it in a cab. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Miss Patel, the director, stood beside me. Her voice was calm, careful. She was a small woman with eyes that missed nothing. "We ask for photos like this because kids see their world in faces, not papers." I swallowed. "Who submitted it?" "Lila chose it," Miss Patel said. "She brought 3. She pointed to this one and said, 'My best day.'" She paused. "I didn't know you'd be the one to see it first. I kept my eyes on the photo so I wouldn't fall. Do you keep copies?" "We scan for the slideshow," she said. "But originals go back to families." She looked at me full on. "I won't let this turn into a public fight. Not here. Not with children watching. I'm not here for a fight," I said. "I'm here to stop a lie." Sophia came around the corner then, braid low, clinic scrubs under a sweater. She saw the photo, then me, and her face did a small sad thing. She didn't smirk. She didn't flinch. She walked up and stood one pace away. "She wanted that one," she said. "She likes the way he holds her so she can touch the sky." "You took them to our lake," I said. The words came out flat. My hands shook inside my pockets. I kept them there. Sophia's eyes moved to the edge of the frame. "It's public," she said. "He said it was special to him. He wanted her to see it." She looked at the scarf on his wrist and winced. "I didn't know about that part." Miss Patel set a gentle hand on the board. "This is not a court," she said. "It's a school." "I know," I said. "But this picture belongs to me in a way too." Sophia breathed out through her nose. "It belongs to her," she said softly. "She is the one who loves it. But I'll make you a copy, if that helps you breathe." Before I could answer, his voice slid into the hall. "Hey." He arrived wearing his careful smile, hair neat, phone, in hand like a shield. He saw the photo, saw me, calculated. "I didn't know you were coming," he said, warm for the room, cool for me. "Meeting ran late, but I wanted to show support." "You showed plenty," I said, nodding at the pier. "On a day I didn't know existed." He looked at Miss Patel. "We all want what's best for the kids," he said. He was switching to that soft leader tone I had watched him use on strangers. "We're navigating a complex moment with kindness." Miss Patel didn't blink. "We want safety," she said. "Kindness is a bonus." He turned back to me, lowered his voice. "We can talk at home. he said. Not here. Don't make this ugly. It is ugly, I said, quiet and clear. You just hung it in good light. Sophia stepped between the photo and his body like a buffer. Tell her that date, she said. Tell her why you were there. He stared at the pier as if it might change shape. It was September, he said. She had a fever. I thought the air would help. It's not a crime to take your child to a lake. It was our anniversary weekend, I said. You texted me from that pier and said the board wouldn't let you go off grid. You said you were saving a contract. My throat burned. You were saving a secret. He reached for my coat sleeve, gentle like always. I stepped back, and the air between us felt like glass. Miss Patel shifted, ready to take a step if she had to. Parents nearby went quiet. The printer kept spitting forms. The world didn't stop just because mine was making a new shape. Give me the photo, I said, and it surprised me how calm I sounded. It's Lila's, he said. It's evidence, I said. And it's mine too. He's wearing the scarf I made. He's on the wood, where he proposed. He's using my life to make a picture that doesn't include me. I looked at Miss Patel. I'll bring it back. I promise. Miss Patel looked at all of us. At the photo. At my hands. At the hallway of paper turkeys and glitter stars. You can take it for one night, she said. You bring it back in the morning. Lila will stand here at 8 and look for it. If it's not here, I will tell her why. Those will be your words, not mine. I nodded because that was fair and also because it cut clean. I slid the clothespin free, slipped the photo into the folder I had brought for forms, and held it to my chest like it might cut me if I let it float. He watched me do it with a soft, fake patience. Think about what you're teaching here, he said. About being generous. Sophia turned her head toward him, very slowly. Generous? She repeated. You used her pier. You used her scarf. You used her line. Don't say generous. He clenched his jaw and put the smile back on top of it for the hallway, but the muscles under it twitched. We'll talk at home, he said again to me. Please. We will, I said. But you won't lead it. At home, I cleared the mantle. I took down our wedding photo and felt a fair kind of grief move through my fingers. I set the glossy 8x10 on the stand and stepped back. It didn't belong here. It also belonged exactly here. It was the truth, loud and printed. He came in at 6. The smell of cold air still caught in his coat. He dropped his keys and saw the mantle. The colour left his face. He looked at me, then at the lake behind him, then at Lila's laugh frozen in the air. He opened and closed his hands like he was looking for a handle. You put this in our house, he said. You put our house in this, I said. Now we're even. He moved closer to study the edges, like maybe he could find a reason to argue with pixels. It was one day, he said. She wanted a picture. You hate cameras. I wanted a picture with you last winter, I said. You cancelled and said you lost the scarf. You didn't lose it. You reused it. He dragged his palm over his mouth, eyes shining with the weak kind of kindness he used when he wanted me to cover for him. Don't send this to anyone, he said, barely above a whisper. We can explain without it. Think of my mother. I thought of everyone, I said. I held up my phone. I also thought of the truth. I tapped the screen. The image of the photo popped up, then slid into the family group thread, the board thread, and the inbox of the school. Along with it went a short, simple line. I didn't dress it. I didn't pad it. I didn't beg anyone to be kind. He stared like he had watched a ship leave without him. "What did? You right?" he asked. I faced him and gave the words out loud, the same ones I had typed under his smiling, stolen picture. "This is my husband," I said, steady as a bell. "This is his other family. Tomorrow, we speak live." The house was too quiet, like a stage after the actors left and forgot to turn off the lights. The fridge hummed. The clock ticked. My breath didn't know where to sit in my chest. On the mantel, the photo from the preschool stared back at me. His cream sweater, Leela's love, the lake where he asked me to marry him. I watched it until my eyes burned. Then I sat on the floor because my legs didn't trust me. My phone lit the room with little storms. "Call me," from Maya. "Are you okay?" from his sister. "We need to talk," from his mother. He texted a single line. "Please wait." I didn't answer. I pressed my thumb to the glass frame on our wedding picture, lifted it, and felt the weight. Then I set it down and cleared the mantel with both hands. Not a smash, a slow, careful sweep, like I was making a clean table for truth. I opened the bottom drawer where we kept bills and broke the neat stacks. Envelopes fell like birds. I tore them with my fingers, paper cutting my skin. Bank statements. A credit card I didn't know we had. A health claim I had never seen. Dependent outpatient visit, it read. Pediatric clinic. My name at the top as the insured. I stared until the black ink grew teeth. I dialed the number on the card and put the phone on speaker. "Member services," a woman said. "How can I help?" "I need to confirm a dependent," I said. My voice shook once. "I think someone used my plan for a child who isn't mine." She asked for numbers, dates, codes. I gave them all. My hands were steady because anger steadies hands. "Yes," she said after a pause. "A dependent was added last year by your spouse. Name redacted for privacy. Relationship. Stepchild." I closed my eyes. "I didn't approve that," I said. "Remove it. Flag it. Send me the authorization he used. I can start a review," she said. "You'll get a letter in 5 to 7 days. I'll bring you proof tomorrow," I said. "I'm done waiting." I hung up and wiped my face with the heel of my palm. The house listened. Felt something inside me fall and then land hard. It didn't break me open this time. It broke me into a shape that could stand. I called Maya. "I need a printer," I said. "I need a notary. I need a lock change. On it," she said. "Do you want me there?" "Yes," I said. "But first, I have to do one thing alone." His key turned in the lock at 6. He stepped in slow, like he was walking into a chapel. He saw the photo on the mantel, the empty space around it, the open drawer. He took in my face. He set his briefcase down like it might explode. "We can fix this," he said softly. "Don't burn the house." "You already set it on fire," I said. I held up the insurance claim. "You put her on my plan." He didn't flinch. He smoothed his tie. "It was cheaper," he said, calm, like he was discussing paint. "It was easier. She needed shots. We share a life. It made sense." "You forged my approval," I said. "You used my name for a child you hid." He lifted his hands like he was catching rain. "I was protecting everyone," he said. "You, her, Sophia. It was a small thing." "It was theft," I said. "You made me pay for the family I didn't know about." The words came out like rocks. I wanted to throw them. I wanted to swallow them. I did neither. I set the claim on the table between us. He moved closer like a man approaching a spooked animal. "I love you," he said. "I love our life. I love our calm mornings. I love your lists. I love..." You loved the space where you got to be a hero twice, I said. Look at me. He looked. The charm slid. The human showed. I was scared, he said. I thought if I told you, you'd leave. I thought if I left her, I'd kill a child's trust. I thought I could hold it all. I couldn't. I'm sorry. Sorry is small, I said. Look at the mantle. He turned his head like it hurt. You used our lake, our scarf, our line. You took my life to build a picture I didn't get to stand in. He reached for my wrist with that old gentle grip. I stepped back and he let air hold his hand. Don't go public, he said, almost whispering. Not like this. We can tell it clean. We can be kind. You told it in whispers, I said. I will tell it in full voice. I held up my phone. Tomorrow we speak live. He tried a new angle, the practical one. The internet will kill you, he said. They always kill the wife. They'll call you bitter. They'll say you're cruel to a child. I won't touch the child with my anger, I said. I will touch you with the truth. I printed the acknowledgement of parentage, the PTA sheet, the photo, the insurance claim, the printer word like a witness. I slid each paper into a clear sleeve, like evidence in a quiet case. A knock at the door. His mother walked in without waiting, eyes red, mouth pressed thin. Andrew, she said, using his full name like a string tug. What is this? She sent me a picture. He stood straighter, shoulders softening in front of his mother. We're handling it, he said in that boy voice. I used to forgive too. Fast, please, Mom. She turned to me. He was a good boy, she said, hands twisting. He helped neighbors. He cared for his grandfather. This looks like a different person. He split himself, I said. Both halves look nice from far away. She sat at the table, palms flat. What do we do? She asked. Not at him, at me. We stop the lie, I said. We tell the truth out loud. I put the photo in front of her. Tomorrow he says her name to the city like he said it here. His mother looked at him, at the lake, at the scarf. Her eyes filled. Andrew, she said, shaking. Did you use her insurance? He stared at the tabletop and said nothing. That silence was worse than any answer. She pressed her lips together, then nodded as if a line had been crossed and there was no walking it back. Then you will fix it, she said. Not with flowers, with receipts. He ran a hand through his hair, broke the leader pose, found nothing left to hold. I'll call HR, he said, small. I'll pay it. Back. He looked up at me like a man underwater reaching for a rope. Please, don't do this in public. I am begging you. I walked to the sink and turned on the tap so the sound would keep me from crying. I washed a single plate, like it was a job, like I could clock in and clock out of pain. Then I shut the water off and faced him. We built our life in public, I said. The picture on our Christmas card was our proof. So the correction will be public too. The door opened again. Sophia stepped in with Lila on her hip and a folder in her hand. She didn't cross the threshold until I nodded. She set Lila on the couch with the blue blanket and stood in my kitchen like it hurt. I'm not here to hurt you, she said to me. I'm here to stand up for her. His mother stood too, wiping her face. I'm here to stand up for all of us, she said. Even him, if he tells the truth. He looked trapped and 12 and 40, all at once. He squeezed his eyes shut for a second, then opened them wide, like he could hold tears back by force. I'm sorry, he said, voice breaking. I am so sorry. Say it to the camera, I said, and pointed to my phone on its stand. Say it Where the lie lived. Then we start the repair. He stared at the phone like it was a cliff. He shook his head. I can't. Not now. I felt the break happen then. Not loud, not screaming, but a crack that moved quiet and deep through my ribs. I put both hands on the back of a chair because I needed wood to hold me up. I cried into my sleeve so the child wouldn't hear. Then I wiped my face, and when I lifted my head, I was new. I placed the insurance claim on top of the photo. I slid the PTA form above it. I set the acknowledgement of parentage last, his name clear and dark. I pressed start on the voice memo and set the phone between us. This is the record, I said calm. Do you deny any of this? He looked at the papers, like they were knives laid out on a cloth. He swallowed. He shook his head. No, he said. I did it. The room listened. The house, my house, took the words into its walls. I ended the recording and saved it with a clean title. I looked him in the eyes and gave him the line that split the night from the morning. I broke in the silence of my own house, I said. And now I will make the noise that saves me. The morning sat heavy on the windows like rain that wouldn't fall. The coffee was hot. The street was bright. Nothing looked broken. But inside me, there was a bend I could not straighten. I stood at the sink with our wedding ring on the counter and the photograph from the preschool on the mantel. His scarf on his wrist, Lila laughing on his shoulders. The lake where he asked me to marry him. I touched the cool metal of the ring and felt my eyes sting. Today I would stop hiding my hurt. Today my tears would speak for me. Maya showed up with a printer under her arm, and that look she gets when she decides a fire needs a wall. Tripod's in the car, she said. Do you want makeup? No, I said. I want the truth to show. We cleared the table. I laid out the pages like a small war. The acknowledgement of parentage with his signature. The preschool contact sheet listing him as Parent A. The insurance claim he put on my plan without my consent. The email from the clinic confirming his payments. And the photograph, the pier, the scarf, the blue blanket. I ran my hand over the glass until it didn't blur. His mother called. Please, she said, voice shaking. Don't do this on camera. Talk to us first. We did, I said. Last night. He refused. Sophia texted a short line. I'm here. Not on camera unless you want. My chest eased a little. She wasn't my rival. She was the other side of the same lie. At 10, his message came through. Let me go first. I'll say I failed. I'll ask for grace. Please stand with me. I stared at the word grace until it stopped meaning anything. Then I typed, no. We stand apart. At noon, I posted the time and the link. Tonight, 7 p.m., I wrote. I will tell my story. He is welcome to listen. He arrived at 2, suit still perfect, voice soft like a bandage. You win nothing by making a show, he said. You only feed wolves. I'm not feeding anyone, I said. I'm turning on a light. He tried a different angle. Think of my mother, he said. Think of the child online. They will be cruel. I will not aim at a child, I said. I will aim at your choices. He put his hands on the back of a chair, like he might steady it. I'll resign from the board, he said. I'll move out. I'll pay back the insurance. Just not like this. Like what? I asked. Like the truth? His eyes watered on cue. He was good. He could cry without his mouth shaking. I'm begging, he whispered. Don't let them see me like this. They already will, I said. And they will see me too. That's the point. At 6:30, Maya set up the tripod and tested the mic. My hands trembled, then settled on the stack of papers. His mother knocked and came in, hair neat, eyes red. She sat at the side, not center, hands folded on her purse like a prayer. Sophia came with Lila's blue blanket folded small in her bag. She took a chair by the door and kept her eyes on me. Miss Patel from the preschool sent a text. "We'll watch, and we'll keep tomorrow safe." I typed back, "Thank you, you." 7 o'clock landed like a gavel. The red light on the camera blinked on. I looked at it and saw my own face, blotchy, bare, real. My throat tightened. I didn't fight the tears, I let them show. Then I began. "My name is Elise," I said. "I thought my life was whole." It wasn't my voice cracked. I let it. "This is the picture that told me so." I held up the photo. The chat on the screen bloomed with hearts, then question marks, then open hands. I put the photo down and picked up the first page. This is the paper where he signed that he is Lila's father. This is the preschool sheet where he is parent A. This is the claim he put on my insurance without asking me. This is the voice you heard in my kitchen. Breathe, my heart. He said it to me for years. He says it to a child who is not mine. The door opened. He walked in slow, hands up, eyes wet. "Please," he said, almost whispering. "Stop. We can handle this with care." "We are," I said. "I'm being careful." "I am showing only what is true." He stepped close to the edge of the frame and turned to the camera like an old friend. "I failed," he said, voice warm and cracking. "I broke my vows. I am sorry. Please don't punish my family." The comments split and surged. Some people said forgive. Some said leave. Some said pray. I held the stack tighter. "We are not here to punish," I said. "We are here to tell the truth with proof." He looked at me, then at his mother, then at Sophia. He softened his mouth and aimed his words at me like he always did when he needed me to choose him. "Elise, don't make me a villain," he said. "I'm just a man who got lost." "Maps don't add names without asking," I said. "Insurance doesn't add children without consent. You did that. You also put our pier and my scarf into a picture that pretended I didn't exist." He swallowed and spread his hands. "I did good things too," he said. "I showed up. I paid. I read bedtime stories." Sophia stood from her chair, stepped into the edge of the frame, and spoke without fire. "He did those things," she said. "He also told my daughter that secrets are love. I told him they aren't. We are here because he didn't listen." He turned toward her with eyes that cut, then caught himself and tried to look kind again. "Sophia, please," he said, "for Lila." "For Lila, I'm honest," she said. Maya tapped the screen with a finger, and the audio clip I recorded last night played through the speaker. His voice filled our home. "I did it." The room went very still. He closed his eyes. His mother took a breath that hurt to hear. I faced the camera. "Some of you will hate me for doing this," I said. "Some of you will say I should have kept it quiet. I kept quiet for a long time. It cost me my sleep and my trust. So tonight, my tears speak louder." He tried the last card he had. He reached his hand into the frame, palm open, voice low. "Elise," he said, "I love you. I love our life. We can repair this. We can build something new." My chest tore in two and then knit back together in the space of 1 second. "We will repair," I said. "But not the way you want." He blinked, confused, like I had changed the rules of a game he knew too well. "What does that mean?" "It means I already filed," I said, and slid the stamped petition into the frame. "Legal separation. It means I already called the insurer and reported the unauthorized dependent. It means the school will have both our names on the list, and your mother won't find out from a photograph again." It means I will not be your spokesperson while you hide. It means the next time you say, "Breathe, my heart," you will say it to your own heart, not mine. His face opened and then fell. "Please," he said, softer than I had ever heard him. "Don't take my life." "I'm not taking your life," I said. "I'm taking mine." He looked at his mother. She rose, walked to him, and put a hand on his cheek. "You did this," she said. Not cruel, not loud. "Now be brave and tell the truth." Then she went back to her chair and faced the camera with me. I held up the photograph one last time. "This picture stole my breath," I said. "So I decided my tears would speak where my mouth couldn't. If you are living in a half-life, hear me. The first sound of freedom can be a sob." Mine was he stared at me, eyes wet, hands empty, words gone. I turned the photo around so the lake faced me and the camera saw only my hands and the edge of the scarf. Then I set it down and gave the line that closed the door behind us and opened the next one in front of me. "My tears are not a weakness," I said, clear and final. "They are my witness." And they just testified. The morning smelled like fresh coffee and printer ink, but the quiet felt wrong, like the house was holding its breath. Sunlight touched the table where I had laid out my papers. His wedding ring, mark on my finger, was lighter now. The photograph from the preschool sat face down because I couldn't look at it and think at the same time. Today wasn't about crying. Today was about proof. Maya came first with 2 boxes of folders, a label maker, and that steady fire in her eyes. "War table," she said, dragging the dining chairs back. "We cleared everything. Vase, placemats, the little bowl where we used to drop our keys, and rolled brown paper across the wood like we were dressing a wound. My hands shook once, then found rhythm. I lined pens, sticky notes, and paper clips in a neat row because order helps when the heart is loud. We started a timeline. Left side, the first whisper, the pink scooter receipt, the dent in the seat. Middle, the PTA sheet with his name as Parent A. Right side, the insurance claim he put on my plan. The acknowledgement of parentage with his signature. Above it all I wrote, in a black marker that bled a little, what he said and what happened. I called the phone company and asked for 3 months of call logs and texts. The woman on the line spoke like a nurse, gentle but exact. "You'll see the records in your portal," she said. 10 minutes later, they landed. Numbers, timestamps, towers. His late calls matched drop-offs at Maple Court like a metronome. 3:17, 3:14, 3:21. I highlighted each one until the pattern glowed. Maya pulled his cloud backups from the old iPad and dug into the photos he thought he hid. "Look at the data," she said, tapping a little eye icon. Each picture had a tiny map and a time. Aquarium, 2:07 p.m., the day he told me he was in Dallas. Children's Museum, 11:42 a.m., the day he cancelled lunch because of last-minute clients. I printed the photos with their stamps and laid them under the dates like stones in a path. At the bank. The teller's smile was tight when I asked for statements and copies of transfers. "Joint account?" she said. "You're on file." She slid the papers across slowly, her eyes soft. The line items had notes he had written to himself in the memo field, not thinking I'd ever see. Park shoes. Clinic copay. Blanket replacement. Honest needs paid with a dishonest life. I circled each one and wrote next to it. True thing, wrong way. Sophia met me at a small table by the clinic on her break. She brought a manila envelope and the blue blanket folded small. This has his messages with me, she said. I took screenshots before he could delete them. I'm not here to ruin him. I'm here to stop the lie from eating us. She pushed the envelope over. Protect Lila in this. I'll stand with you, but not on her back. I slid the envelope into my bag and nodded. I won't put her face anywhere, I said. But I will say her name to him when he tries to hide it again. In the afternoon, I went to Maple Court and asked the building manager for a copy of the lease. He looked at my ringless hand and then at my face. He made 2 copies without asking why. The paper smelled like dust and toner. A. Hale/S. Reyes, it said with a steady signature I knew by heart. The lazy loop on the E, the sharp cut at the H. I added the lease to my stack and felt something inside me settle like a bone finding its place. By 4, the table was a grid of his stories and the truth. Business trip matched with aquarium ticket. Working late matched with preschool sign-out at 3:15. Lost the scarf matched with the photo on the pier where he wore it proudly. Caring for a client's kid matched with the acknowledgement of parentage. Under each lie, a receipt. He walked in at 5 without knocking, like it was still his house in more ways than rent. He stopped when he saw the table, the rows, the circles, the maps. His face changed like a cloud crossing the sun. Charming first, hurt second, hard last. What is this? He asked, soft for me, careful for himself. A record, I said, and kept my voice even. Every lie you tried to bury, I dug them up. He gave me the small smile he used when he sold a hard plan to nice people. Or, he said gently, it's a story you're choosing. We can write a kinder one. We can say I lost my way and found it. People love that Maya snorted without looking up. He ignored her. He walked around the table like a buyer in a showroom, reading the tags. You went to my bank, he said. You took photos from my cloud. He looked at me, not angry yet. You hate this part of yourself. I hate having to use it, I said. I don't hate knowing the truth. He touched the aquarium print. She laughed at the jellyfish, he said, a little smile fighting his mouth. Then he looked guilty for letting sweetness show on the wrong day, and he put the mask back on. You're making me into a villain, he said. I'm not one. You're a man who likes being 2 men, I said. That's enough to break a house. His mother arrived with a grocery bag, like she could fix this with soup. She set it down when she saw the table. Her shoulders dropped. Andrew, she said, just his name, full and heavy. To me, she said, you're right to do this. It hurts, but you're right. He looked from her to me and tried kindness as a weapon. This is a witch hunt, he said softly. Find what you want, and it's all you'll see. No, I said, and slid the last file to the center. This is taxes. I had called the accountant after lunch. Miss Green had pulled the authorization logs while whispering, "Oh, honey," across the line. The E sign on the dependent claim had my typed name, but not my hand. The IP address was his office. The timestamp matched a calendar slot he labeled vendor check. He stared at the page like it could rearrange itself if he looked hard enough. I'll fix it, he said. I'll pay whatever. I'll call the IRS. You'll call them from your own phone, not mine. I said. You won't use my name to clean what you did with it. He reached for the pen by my notebook, then stopped. What do you want from me? He asked. Quiet now, the fight going out of his shoulders. Tell me what to say. The truth, I said. No edits, no soft edges. Not, I failed my marriage like a poem, the real thing. I made another family and lied about it. You say it on record." He swallowed, eyes bright and wet and honest, for maybe the first time all week. "I am ashamed," he said. "Good," I said. "That means you're finally touching what you did." Maya's phone buzzed. She glanced down and her eyebrows rose. "Check your email," she told me. The subject line glowed. Employment matter. His company had received my packet. They were opening an investigation into misuse of benefits and material misrepresentation on HR forms. "Your access will be restricted pending review," the email said. He saw it upside down and went pale. "This is my job," he whispered. "This is my life." "This is consequence," I said. He tried one more angle, the one that always worked, the small boy voice, the hand half extended. "Elise," he said. "Please." I looked at the table, at the binder clips holding my new life together, at the photo face down like a closed book. My chest ached, and then eased. I picked up the stack labeled dossier and slid it into a padded envelope. "Maya," I said, "send the drive to the insurer and the school." She nodded and moved with the speed of someone who knows how to carry weight. Sophia knocked and stepped in with a manila envelope of her own. She didn't cross the line of the rug until I nodded. "These are the receipts you don't have," she said to me. "The ones he paid in cash." She looked at him. Not cruel, just done. "You can stop digging. The ground is all holes." He stared at the two of us, his mother, the table. He looked very tired. "I loved you," he said to me, voice low. "I love her." "That part is true." "I know," I said. "That's what makes it awful. You loved us both and still chose lying. Love isn't an excuse. It's a job." Hard knock at the door startled all of us. The room froze for one heartbeat. I opened it. A courier stood there with a clipboard and a small stack of envelopes. "Delivery for a Hale," he said. "Employment notice. Insurance review. A letter from the preschool board asking for a meeting about records." I signed, handed the stack over, and watched him hold the weight of his own mail. He looked at the names on the return addresses like they were strangers. He lifted his eyes to mine, empty hands opening and closing. "What did you do?" he asked. Not angry now, just amazed. I set the padded envelope on top of the stack and answered him with the only line that fit after a day like this. "I gathered every lie you tried to bury," I said, steady and clear. And then I planted the truth where everyone can see it. The ring light hummed like a bee, while the house sat too still. Outside, a boy rode his bike, and a dog barked at nothing. Inside, the clock ticked loud. My hands were steady on the stack of papers, but my chest knew something was off. The little red dot on the camera waited. The livestream page counted down. It looked calm. It didn't feel calm. Maya checked the mic and raised her eyebrows. 100,000 waiting, she said. "Chat's wild." "I won't read it," I said. "I'll read this." I touched the binder with its plastic sleeves. Lease, call logs, the insurance claim, the preschool sheet, the acknowledgement of parentage, the peer photo. Each page was a weight I could hold. Sophia sat near the door, with her coat folded on her lap. "I'll speak only if needed," she said. "I'm here so the truth doesn't bend." His mother sat on the end of the couch, hands wrapped around a mug she never drank. She looked smaller, but her chin was up. "Say it plain," she told me. "People hear plain." The stream went live. Viewer count climbed like a fever. I looked into the lens and saw my own eyes, tired and clear. "I'm Elise," I said. "A week ago, I thought my life was whole. It wasn't I held up the photo from the preschool. The pier, the scarf on his wrist, Lila laughing. I set it down. Tonight, I'll show you what he hid and how he hid it. Before I could turn the first page, my phone buzzed on silent. A new notification flashed on the laptop. Redemption Live with Andrew. Starting now. He had gone live on his own page with a polished banner and a soft song. The chat split between windows. People flipped back and forth like a crowd at two doors. Maya muttered. He stacked the hour. She clicked and put his feed next to ours. Our faces side by side on the screen. The split that had broken my chest now split for the world. He stared into his lens with those soft-souled eyes. I failed, he said, voice warm and cracked in the right places. I hurt the woman I love. I will spend the rest of my life making it right. He looked down, breathed, looked up. Please don't punish my family. A woman slid into his frame with a notebook and a calm smile. I'm Tara, she said. Andrew's communications advisor. She turned to her camera like a neighbor offering sugar. We ask for grace while this couple heals in private. Her tone was gentle. Her eyes were sharp. She wasn't a cartoon villain. She was worse, kind on the surface, measured underneath. I could feel a script in the room that wasn't mine. Grace is not the issue, I said to my lens. Truth is, I lifted the first page. This is the acknowledgement of parentage he signed. 2 years ago. Not a mistake last month. I held the paper so the seals showed. This is the preschool sheet where he is parent A. This is the insurance claim he added to my plan without consent. This is the lease with both their names. This is the call log. 3:15, 3:17, 3:21. This is his voice last night when he said, I did it. He kept his face soft. I am ashamed, he said, almost whispering. I'm in therapy. I'm learning. Tara glanced at a tablet and lifted her chin. Comments are asking if Elise will avoid harming a child, she said. We hope so. I will, I said. I will not show a child on this stream. I will show the methods he used to hide a child while using my name. I set a new page on the stand. This is the e-sign audit. The IP address is his office. The timestamp matches a calendar slot he labeled vendor check. He smiled sadly into his camera. I don't know why my wife is making this a show. I felt the heat in my face and let it be real. I didn't make a show, I said. You did. I'm making a record. I nodded to Maya. She tapped the keyboard and pulled up a screen from his cloud notes titled Redemption Playbook. I had printed it on paper too, in case they cut the feed. The list was simple. Minute 1. Say, I failed. Minute 2. Mother enters. Minute 3. Ask for grace. Minute 4. Call wife, my heart. Avoid. Our words are the family. Say situation, do not cry too early. Cry at minute 5. Breathe into mic. A wave went through the chat like a gust that bends trees. He went still for one beat, then smiled again. That's not mine, he said softly. Anyone can type those words. Tara lifted her calm face. This is why we asked for privacy, she said. Online mobs, twist documents. Then let's not twist, I said, and press play on a voice memo. His voice filled both streams, low and close to a mic. Minute 5 cry, he whispered, then gave a small laugh. Breathe, my heart. He was practicing. He was rehearsing the line he had given me for years. He didn't look at his camera then. He looked at me through mine. For a second I saw the man I married, scared and bare. Then he found his mask again. I am trying to apologize, he said. She is trying to destroy me. Sophia stood into the edge of my frame. "He is trying to manage you," she said, calm and even. "He asked me yesterday to call his boss and say we were only co-parents. He asked me to delete messages." I didn't. Tara smiled at Sophia, through a screen like she was a friend in need. "We respect all women here," she said. "We ask again, please, let's not harm a child. Stop using her as a shield," I said. "We're not saying her face. We're saying your acts." I lifted another page. A vendor invoice. "Here is an order for a comment service placed at 6 a.m. today. Sympathy surge. 25,000 posts. 10,000 hearts. 2,000. Give him grace." The company name was a bland string of words, but the line items were not. "He paid to drown me out." Tara's smile thinned. "That looks like a fake," she said, pleasant as a nurse with a needle. "It's not," Maya said, stepping into frame with a timestamp and a bank match. "The transaction cleared at 6:12 a.m. from his card ending in 3049. We masked the last digits. We won't make a path for fraud. We will show the facts." His mother rose in my room and moved into view. Her voice shook, but she didn't hide it. "Andrew," she said, looking at his face on the split screen, "stop asking women to carry your story. Speak the truth from your own mouth." He broke then, not tears on schedule, but a flash of anger. The mask slipped. "Fine," he said, turning to his camera. "I signed." I lied. "I was wrong. Are you happy?" "No," I said. "Say the hard words." I read them so he could follow. "I made another family. I hid them. I used my wife's plan. I forged her approval. I told a child that a secret was love. I paid strangers to praise me. I practiced crying." Each sentence went into the chat like a stone. He stared at me across the gap, jaw tight. He didn't repeat them. He went back to apology without detail. "I failed," he said again. "Please, Grace." The viewer count climbed. News anchors cut in. The school's message popped up on my phone. Records updated. Both households listed. The insurer's email followed. Investigation open. Dependent removed. Demand letter in process. Then his company's notice. Suspended pending review. Maya lifted the laptop and showed the screen to my camera, not his. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I let the words sit. Tara leaned toward her lens. "To the viewers," she said softly, "remember that public shame kills people. Please be kind. Kindness without truth saves no one," I said. "This is not a pile-on. This is repair." I turned one last page. "I said I would protect a child. I mean it. Her face stays off. Her name stays off. But this stays on." I tapped the binder. Because my silence was the soil where his lies grew. He stood from his chair on his stream, paced one step left, one step right. He pushed his palms into his eyes, then dropped his hands. His voice went low and hot. "Elise," he said, no camera charm, no soft line. "You will ruin me." "I won't," I said. "You did. I'm just pulling off your mask, so it stops fooling good people." He stared like he wanted to leap through the glass. Then he grabbed for his laptop. Maybe to kill the feed. Maybe to change the angle. The picture jerked. For a second, the screen showed a window behind him. A light. A cue card on the wall. A whiteboard with bullet points in his own writing. Mother at 4:30. No other family. Fix brand first. Feeling second. The world saw it. He slapped the lid down. His stream cut to black. Our chat exploded. Hearts. Shock. Quiet faces typing, "I believe you." I felt my knees try to soften. I locked them. I looked into the lens and gave the line I had sharpened all day. Simple and final. The world watched while I pulled off his mask, I said. If you're looking for the real him, he's the man behind the script. The sun came up too bright for a day like this. Kids laughed on the sidewalk. A neighbor watered her plants and waved like we were fine. Inside the community room, the chairs were set in a circle like it was group therapy. On the whiteboard, someone had written "family conversation" in blue marker with a smiley face. My chest tightened at the smile. He had asked for this meeting to heal. That was his word. I came with my binder and a steady hand. Maya stood by the door, checking the camera we were allowed to keep for our own record. Sophia sat 2 chairs away with the blue blanket in her lap, her jaw set, her eyes calm. Miss Patel from the preschool took notes. His mother held herself tall in a quiet way that made me love her and ache for her at the same time. Tara, his advisor, was there too. Soft voice, sharp eyes, a notebook on her knee. He walked in late, but smiling, like a man who still believed he could land a plane with no fuel. He wore a soft sweater instead of a suit, like costume meant to say gentle. He looked around the circle, found me, and nodded like we were partners on the same stage. "Thank you for coming," he said to the room. "I want to make this right." "You start by naming it," Sophia said steady. "Not this." "Say it." He swallowed. "I had another relationship," he said. He glanced at Tara. She gave a small nod, like a teacher when a child remembers a line. I should have told the truth sooner. "Say family," Miss Patel said from her chair. The children heard that word. "Use the same one." He looked at me then. His eyes were wet but not messy, the kind of tears that look good on camera. "I made another family," he said. The words landed like stones in a bowl. He turned to his mother. "I'm sorry, Mom." She closed her eyes for a beat. "I know," she said. "But you must speak to more than me." Tara leaned forward with a careful smile. "We're here to build a bridge," she said. "We ask for grace. We ask not to turn this into a public punishment." I opened my binder. "I don't need punishment," I said. "I need record." I set the first page in the center. The acknowledgement of parentage, the seal clear. "You signed this 2 years ago, not 2 months ago, not in a panic last week." He nodded to show he was calm. "I did." I laid the next page. The preschool contact listing him as parent A. Then the next. The insurance claim he added to my plan without my consent. "And this," I said, "is why you used my name for a child you hid." He shifted in his chair. Tara's pen moved. "We will repay that," he said quickly. "We are already in touch with the insurance." I set the demand letter on the table. "They're in touch with you," I said. "It's open." He looked at the letters like they were rain he could step out of. He went back to his soft voice. "Elise," he said, "you've made your point. Let's not. Don't ask me to be quiet so your voice can be the only one," I said. I slid the screenshot of his redemption playbook forward. Miss Patel's eyes narrowed at the bullets. Mother at 4:30. Do not say other family. Cry at minute 5. Sophia set the blue blanket on her knee like a flag. His mother stared at the page until the ink could have burned. Tara lifted her head. "People write notes when they're nervous," she said gently. "Let's not read malice into planning." Maya clicked her pen. He also paid a comment farm at 6:12 a.m. to flood his feed with "Give him grace," she said. "If we're building a bridge, don't lie about the wood." He touched the bridge of his nose and breathed. He looked at me, not at the papers. "I love you," he said quietly. "You've always been my home. You love the stage more, I said. That's why you built too. He tried humor because it had saved him before. You always did know how to cut me, he said. A soft huff, half smile. It didn't land. Miss Patel raised a hand like we were in class. We're not here to trade lines, she said. We're here to decide if the school needs to call social workers. About contact information and safety, call them, I said. We updated the forms. Both addresses. Both phones. Tara's voice stayed kind. And we agreed not to put a child in the middle, she said. So perhaps we stop waving documents like a life, Sophia said. They are our life. He turned to Sophia, and there it was. The real man under the soft face. A flash of anger. Small, precise. You could have kept this quiet for her, he said low. You were supposed to protect the house. I am protecting the people in it, she said, the words calm and hot at once. A knock sounded at the door. 2 people stepped in, with badges clipped at their belts. Their faces were polite, not cruel. Sir, the woman said, we're from the insurer's investigative unit. We're here to serve notice of our review. She set a sealed envelope on the table and wrote the time on a form. You'll need to speak to our team this week. He looked at the envelope like it was a dare. Here, he asked. Voice tight. Now? This is where you are, she said simply. We go where the truth lives. They left as quiet as they came. His eyes came back to mine. The room pressed in around us. Elise, he said a whisper. Please. I placed the last item in the center. A small thumb drive. This is the part I didn't want, I said. But I won't carry it alone. I nodded to Maya. She connected it to the TV behind us. The screen lit with a simple, ugly clip from his office security. Him at a desk, on speaker, leaning back like the world belonged to his charm. Add dependent to wife's plan, his voice said. Authorization by email is fine. She won't read it. Send to my office. A beat. He laughed. Breathe, my heart. He shut his eyes now, real pain cracking his face. Not scheduled. He looked at me again, and I felt the old pull, the habit of saving him, the muscle memory of making softness. I didn't move. I was scared, he said. I thought I could hold it all and hurt no one. I failed. Sophia's hands trembled. On the blue blanket. His mother's shoulders shook once, and then steadied. Miss Patel wrote one line on her paper and underlined it twice. Tara put the notebook down and looked at him. And for the first time she stopped being careful. You asked me to craft a story, she said, low and precise. I can't. There isn't one. There are facts. She stood and turned to me. I'm done. She walked out. He watched that door close like it took air with it. Then he looked back at me, and in that second, the truth crushed him. Not the documents, not the emails. The fact that no line he owned would carry him across the room to the person he used to be. I held his eyes. You used my name as a tool, I said softly. You used my peer, my scarf, my line. Today, you don't get to use my silence. He tried a small laugh that broke. What do you want me to say now? The thing you keep avoiding, I said. Say it clean. Say it complete. He swallowed and looked at Sophia, then at his mother, then at me. The fight left his face, and something truer moved in. I made another family, he said. I lied for years. I used your name. I asked a child to hide with me. It was wrong. It was all wrong. The room breathed. The truth felt heavy and clean. He lifted his hands like they might help and then let them fall. Tears came then, not pretty, not timed, not planned. He didn't look away. He stayed in it. He finally did one brave thing. He didn't run. I turned to Miss Patel. "The school will have what it needs," I said. "Tomorrow, we sit with the counselor. We make a plan that keeps this child safe." Miss Patel nodded, steady. "We will." I faced his mother. "You won't find out news from a photo again," I said. "You'll hear it from us first?" She bowed her head. "Thank you," she whispered. He wiped his face with the back of his hand and tried to stand. His knees faltered. The chair caught him. His eyes found mine again, raw and human and late. "Elise," he said, "how do I live with this?" "You start by not asking me to hold it," I said. He nodded, small and broken, and for once he didn't argue. He sat like a man who could finally feel the ground under him. I picked up my binder, closed it, and gave the line that ended the part of our life where I kept him standing. His eyes met mine as the truth crushed him. I said, clear and final. "From now on, he carries its weight, without my back." The sky was clean and blue, like it wanted to forgive us. The courthouse steps were warm from the sun. People laughed on the sidewalk like their lives were simple. I held my binder to my chest and felt the shake in my knees anyway. "Today was temporary orders," the clerk said. It sounded harmless. It wasn't. It was the day the law would write what we already knew. 2 homes had cracked, and one of us kept trying to pretend we were fine. Maya squeezed my shoulder once, hard and sure. "Breathe," she said. "Not for him. For you." He came up the steps with his lawyer, and that soft sweater that made strangers think he was safe. He smiled at me like we were still a team, like we had a funny story to tell a judge. "Let's keep this clean," he said under his breath. "No need to hurt everyone." Sophia arrived a minute later with a canvas tote and the blue blanket folded on top. Her mouth was tight. Her eyes were steady. She didn't look at him. She nodded at me. "We say it plain," she said. "No, theater." His mother climbed the stairs slower than all of us. Back straight, pearls on, her hand on the rail like the truth had weight. She kissed my cheek. She didn't kiss his. "Tell it straight," she whispered to me. "You will sleep after." Inside, the fluorescent lights made everyone look a little sick. The hearing room was small, with chairs too close and a clock that ticked like a metronome. The mediator set out pictures of water and smiled like she had seen every kind of storm. "We are here to plan for a child, and to keep adults from breaking her," she said. "We are not here to save face." He nodded like the speech was his idea. "Agreed," he said, hands folded, voice warm. "I want peace." "Then stop fighting in secret," I said. His lawyer slid a paper forward. "My client proposes a private agreement," he said. "No live streams, no social posts, no school involvement. He offers generous support, joint decision-making, and a commitment to family therapy." Where was family therapy? When he added a dependent to my insurance without consent? I asked. I slid the audit printout between us. IP address, timestamp, his office. He didn't look at the paper. He looked at me. "Elise," he said softly, "you'll poison the well if you keep bringing up old items." "Old items?" Sophia said. She wasn't loud. She didn't need to be. "2 months ago, you told my daughter that secrets are love." He winced and turned to the mediator. "We are repairing language with our child," he said. "We are reading books." The mediator wore a gentle smile, like a seatbelt. "Books are good," she said. "So are signatures that mean what they say." I laid the acknowledgement of parentage on the table. 2 years ago, I said. He signed this and kept me in the dark. He also filed last week. I lifted a fresh copy from my binder. For sole decision-making in healthcare, in case the other household becomes unstable. He did that before this meeting. His mother turned her head fast. You did what? His lawyer cleared his throat like he had swallowed something wrong. A procedural filing, he said. A placeholder. I slid the e-file receipt closer so the date screamed quietly from the page. He looked at it and then at me. His kind eyes went colder by 1 degree. You wake up every day ready to fight, he said. I wake up ready to fix. You wake up ready to control, I said. Sophia opened her tote and pulled out receipts. Daycare, she said, setting them down one by one. Pediatric copays, shoes, she lifted her chin. He is not late. He's not cruel with money, but he keeps trying to buy silence. That stops here. He aimed his voice at the mediator, not at her. We all use the wrong tools, he said smoothly. We can learn better ones. Your tool was my name, I said. You used it like a key. He turned his palms up, that old trick that made donors trust him. I am asking for grace. The mediator held up a hand. Grace without boundaries is rope, she said. Let's talk. Boundaries. She drew 3 columns on a pad. School, health, public statements. For school, I said both addresses, both phones. No pretending one home doesn't exist. Miss Patel has the forms. She will join by video if needed. Sophia nodded. Pickups by schedule, not by surprise. If he's late, he says so like an adult, not like a hero who saves his own fire. He smiled like he could cute his way through it. I don't mind structure, he said. But we also need flexibility. Life happens. Your flexibility is where lies live, I said. For health, the mediator said. I slid the insurer's demand letter over. Dependent removed, I said. Any future coverage runs only through the parent who lives with the child or through his own plan with my written consent. Not emails he writes and approves himself. His jaw tightened. I said I would repay, he said. I said I was ashamed. Now you show it with steps, his mother said, voice steady as a line of chalk. Not with a speech. For public statements, the mediator said, I suggest no child's name, no photos, no threats, no paid campaigns. Maya cleared her throat. Add, no bots, no comment farms, she said. We have a record of 1 purchase this week. His lawyer looked bored. This is getting petty, he said. Petty is what you called it when the clerk served you at your office, Sophia said. This is not petty. This is how we keep a girl from learning that lying is a family sport. He breathed through his nose and aimed for a new angle. I talked to the pastor, he said to his mother. He offered a private circle. He says we can heal in community. We are in community, his mother said. Right here. With paper, the mediator tapped her pen. We're moving, she said. Good. Now, assets and access. Elise? I pulled out keys. He can keep the apartment on Maple Court for now, I said. He will not bring anyone into our home. I will change the locks today. He will return company property, and personal items cannot leave without a list I sign. His lawyer smiled thinly. You're very organized. I built my life around a man who wasn't, I said. It was practice. He leaned in, dropped the nice voice, and let us see the edge. You have turned this into sport, he said. You want to stand on my body and tell the internet you climbed a mountain. I want to stop you from building new rooms out of lies, I said. If the internet hears it, that's because you made our home a stage. The mediator put a finger on the page. Enough, she said, soft but firm. We're writing orders, not scripts. As she spoke, a clerk slid into the room and handed the mediator a note. She read it, nodded, and looked at him. "Your employment status changed this morning," she said. "An official notice arrived for this file. You are suspended pending investigation for benefits misuse. That affects your capacity to provide. We adjust support now." His face went grey, like the light had changed inside him. He looked at me with a plea he didn't have words for. "Elise, don't ask me to hold you up while you fall," I said. Sophia reached for the blue blanket with shaking hands and then stopped herself. She stood instead, spine straight. "I can carry my house," she said. I just needed the world to stop asking me to carry his too. He put his hands to his face and dragged them down, as if he could wipe a new version onto himself. When he looked up, his eyes found mine. There was no mask left. Just the man who finally knew he couldn't charm the floor into staying still. "What do I do now?" he asked. Not to win, but because he didn't know. "Show up on time," I said. "Tell the truth when it hurts. Pay what you owe. And stop using women as your wall." The mediator wrote the last line and slid the draft across. "Review," she said. "Sign if you agree." He stared at the page like it was a cliff. His lawyer whispered. His mother touched his arm and then let it go. Sophia looked at the clock. Maya clicked her pen once. The sound was small and final. He signed. We signed. The mediator stamped the paper. The sound was loud in the small room. It wasn't a cheer. It was a door closing. Outside, the sky looked the same. Buses hissed and dogs barked like they had this morning, like they would tomorrow. But we were different. He stood on the steps with his copy of the order and no script. Sophia walked down with her tote under her arm and her chin high. His mother wiped her cheek and folded her shoulders back. Maya handed me my binder. It felt lighter than it had when I walked in. My hands still shook. My legs did not. He watched me like he wanted the last word, the last hand on my wrist, the last rescue. He didn't get it. I turned to the small crowd of cameras across the street and lifted my head. I didn't hold up papers. I didn't cry. I didn't ask for grace. I gave them the line I had saved for this blue sky day, the one that ended the part where I held us all together by lying to myself. "Two families collapsed," I said, clear and steady. But I stood taller, and I will build a house that doesn't need a mask to stay up. The morning was bright in a way that felt rude. Sun on the windows, birds loud. The city moved like any other day. But the air inside the clinic wing was tense, the kind that hums before a storm. Balloons waited by the door. A banner hung straight. Community open house. I held the program in my hands until the paper warmed. Today we would show the repairs. Today he would try to steal them. Maya checked the soundboard with quick hands. "Press is setting up outside," she said. 2 local stations. 3 bloggers. Chat rooms already arguing. "You're trending. I don't want a trend," I said. "I want a clean hallway and a full supply closet." Sophia came down the corridor with a box of blankets, the blue one folded on top because Lila wouldn't leave home without it. "Families at 9, she said. "Nurses at 10, the school choir at 11. Her eyes were calm. Her jaw was not. Miss Patel arrived with kids carrying paper hearts. She placed a list in my hand. "Emergency contacts updated," she said. No more blank lines. No more pretending my phone buzzed. His name on the screen, then a text that read like a prayer in a trap. "Let me speak for 2 minutes today. I want to donate. Fresh start. Donors like grace." I typed one word back. No. At 9 sharp, the first families came. A mother set down 2 bags of medicine and cried when the nurse told her the refill station was free today. A father in a work vest lifted a toddler to touch the new sign, the 100 families wing. Names etched in steel, their letters sharp and clean. Not ours. Theirs. My chest hurt in a way that felt like healing. His mother walked in quiet and straight, a small bouquet in her hands. She looked at the wall of names, pressed her lips, and nodded once. "That's right," she said. "That is right." Tara appeared behind her. No camera, no notebook, just a plain sweater that didn't pretend anything. She tipped her head toward the door. "He's outside," she said. He brought a check. "Strings?" I asked. "Wires," she said. He set up a photo backdrop and a copy of the old banner. He thinks if you take money on camera, you also take his script. There's fine print on the back of the check. I told him not to. He never thinks anything will stick to him. Maya popped her head out from behind the portable stage. "If he rushes the mic, we cut to the slideshow," she said. "Families stay in frame. Your rules, not his." At 10, the hall filled. Nurses lined the back wall in scrubs. The school choir fidgeted, then settled when Miss Patel raised 2 fingers. I stepped to the small podium and felt the shaky part of me go quiet. "Thank you for coming," I said. "This room is yours." I lifted a stack of papers. "We promised repair." "Here is some of it." I read out the numbers. Doses stocked, beds added, co-pays cleared, the insurer's letter confirming the first repayment, the board vote to lock public funds behind 2 signatures. I kept it simple. I kept it plain. The doors opened mid-sentence. He walked in with 2 men and a bright smile that looked practiced and tired. He wore that soft sweater like armor. In his hand, a long white envelope. "I'm sorry to interrupt," he said loud enough for cameras. "I came with a gift." He held up a giant check like a carnival prize. The crowd made a soft sound. Hope mixed with suspicion. He stepped toward the stage. 250,000, he said, voice warm. "From friends who believe in this place. I am not asking for my name on the wall. I am asking for a chance to help." He was ready to look humble, to let the flashbulbs paint him generous. I saw the small text on the back of the check when the light hit it. By acceptance, recipient agrees to joint statement and mutual non-disparagement. I felt a cold thread run up my spine. Cunning, quiet, clean. Maya caught my eye and nodded once. I took the check. I turned it to the camera so the claws showed. "This is a trap," I said. "It hides a gag under a gift." I handed it back to him, without heat. "We decline." He held the smile a little too long. "Why turn away help?" he asked, soft. "People are watching. They want to win. Wins that come with muscles become losses," I said. "This house won't be bought." He leaned closer, tone dropping so only the front rows could hear. "You'll look cruel," he murmured. "Say thank you and keep the funds moving." I stepped back to the mic. "We won't launder harm with gifts," I said to the room. "We take restitution, not redeemers." The crowd shifted. Some angry, some relieved, all awake. His mother looked at him like she had never seen him before, and also had always known this was there. "Put it away," she said. "Don't make more mess." He swallowed and moved to charm the edges. "It's okay," he told the families. Hands up. I tried. He turned as if to leave. The check tilted so the cameras could still see the big number. Then a courier pushed through the door with a single envelope and a clipboard. Delivery for A. Hale, the courier said. From the insurer. He signed. He opened it. The letter was short. Restitution schedule approved. Failure to comply will result in referral to the Attorney General. He read it fast and we all watched the blood drain from his face. He lifted his eyes to mine. You did this, he said, quiet. You did, I said. I just stopped you from doing it again. He took one step toward the podium with the check still in his hand, as if he could still force the picture into a better shape. Tara touched his sleeve. He shook her off. Please, he said to me. And for once, it wasn't about cameras. It was a small sound that belonged to a man who needed mercy. I had mercy. It just didn't look like his. Stand over there, I said, and pointed to the side of the room. No mic. No speech. Watch Sophia stepped onto the stage with the choir behind her. The blue blanket tucked under her arm like a secret that wasn't needed anymore. She took the scissors. She looked at me, then at the wall of names. For the first 100 families, she said, voice steady. For the next 100 too. We cut the ribbon together. The choir sang in small voices that wobbled at first and then held. Nurses wiped their eyes. A father clapped at the wrong time and made everyone laugh. It felt like air after a locked room. He stood where I told him to, check by his side, face open and lost. When the music faded, I motioned to a small cart covered with a cloth. Maya wheeled it forward. I lifted the cloth and showed what was under it. A steel box with a clear lid and a slot on top. This is our fund, I said. Not for names on walls, for diapers, bus cards, medicine. It is fed by small bills and steady hands. It is fed by restitution from wrongs already named. It is not fed by bargains. A girl from the choir stepped forward and pushed 2 crumpled dollars into the slot. Her mother put a bus card in. A nurse slid in a folded note. For the family in 3B. His men shifted near the door, unsure of their next line. Tara moved away from him and stood with the nurses. His mother walked up to the box, took off a thin gold bracelet and slid it in. She looked at me. Melt it, she said. Turn it into thermometers. Then she turned to him. You may help when you are told, not when you want to be seen. He tried to smile again. It didn't land. He looked at the cameras and then away, as if they had become windows he didn't want anymore. Elise, he said, one more reach, one last try. How do you forgive me? I don't do it here, I said. I don't do it for the crowd. I do it. When you finish your part, I lifted a new piece of paper. Your first payment is due Monday. He nodded. He didn't argue. He folded the check in half, then in half again, until his hands shook. Then he put it in his pocket and stepped back into the people, not above them, not before them. Just one man in a room he couldn't control. The press asked for quotes. I gave them small ones. We're open. We're stocked. We're not a story. We're a service. Maya ended the stream. Miss Patel herded the kids to cookies. Sophia leaned against the wall and let her shoulders drop. I walked to the far window and opened it. Air moved through the hall and lifted the edge of the banner. My phone buzzed with a new email. The subject made my eyes sting in a good way. Grant approved. The City Clinic Fund had sent a note. We watched your work. We choose you. I pressed my thumb over the screen and did not cry. I let the wind sit. He came to the edge of the doorway and stood there like a boy who got sent to the hall. His eyes found mine. No mask, no script. He raised a hand in a small, unsure wave. I raised mine, back in a smaller one. He would owe. He would pay. He would learn. I would not be his teacher. I turned to the room and lifted my voice one more time. "This wing is not a stage," I said. "It's a promise kept in public." I paused and let the cameras lean in. "He left ruins," I said, clear and steady. And I rose, higher, by building a house that doesn't need his name to stand.